Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Team Training Tuesday, also called Applied Neolife. My name is Dr. Eseza Nambasi. I'm trained as a medical doctor. However, I've decided and chosen to focus all my energy on health and wellness, basically because it gives me much more satisfaction to see people get true health and happiness. I'm aligned with the most progressive and awesome health and wellness company called Neolife that has taught me a lot, much more than I ever learned at medical school as regards health and wellness. So today, I thought we would continue with what we began last week. Last week, remember, we spoke a lot about factors that impact fertility. So today, I thought we'll just continue with what happens after conception, and that's called pregnancy. Once the pregnancy is permitted by circumstances to grow. And it's a very special time in any family's life, any woman's life, and no two pregnancies are ever the same. But I want today to focus on nutrition because of its importance and the fact that we are in a nutrition and wellness company. And so I thought it would help to get some facts straightened out. So I've subtitled it Nutrition for Pregnancy Before, During, and After. And I believe this is the kind of information we should be sharing, and we should open discussions with each one of us as often as possible. Right. So I want to start with this concept, the power of nutrient synergy for optimum nutrition. You know, a lot of people have had this model of saying, I will give this nutrient for that condition, or this pill for that situation. Well, when you come to this family, you quickly learn that we don't operate like that. There has to be synergies so that optimum nutrition can happen. And you might recall that nutrition is when the nutrients actually enter the cells and influence metabolism or the workings of those cells. So they have to have entered the cells and have done the work that is required. Otherwise, a lot of times people don't get nutrition. They end up getting more problems than they're trying to solve if they use the wrong things. So the power of nutrient synergy for optimum nutrition, it promotes optimal mental performance and emotional balance. And just as a by the way, we are in February, which around the world, many people call it the month of love. But I want us to start by loving ourselves and our immediate family enough to learn how to nourish our bodies in all ways. Okay, so promote optimal mental performance and emotional balance. Also promotes physical performance. That is so crucial. Once you have all the right nutrients, then your physical growth and performance is much better. And then it reduces incidence of ill health. Sounds obvious, but you know, it might not be so obvious until people really get it. And then also, it enables one to achieve long health lifespan. It doesn't pay very well to have a long life, but which is marred by over 50 years of ill health. that to me is not ideal. So let's talk about the power of nutrient synergy in pregnancy specifically. And I wanted to use a classic example of the combination of the B vitamins. We've mentioned in the last week's webinar that homocysteine is a marker that can predict lots of disease risks. For example, for cardiovascular disease, depression, Alzheimer's. Then for what we are talking about today in pregnancy, the unfortunate event of miscarriage and birth defects. So it is something that we all need to look up, investigate, and see how we can use this marker that is hardly ever used in medical circles, unfortunately. But we can popularize it, can't we? And then along with the vitamin B group, the vitamin B complex, that is B6, B12, B2, and B9, which is folic acid, one requires zinc, magnesium, amino acids, and a lot of other minerals and factors such as phytonutrients. So why do we need antioxidants, which are found in a variety of phytonutrients? Because antioxidants are very important in pregnancy. And that's why we encourage pregnant women to eat lots of fruits and vegetables in their diet. And because they provide us with the antioxidants, those actually work together as a team, you know? For example, the primary antioxidants such as vitamin C will sacrifice an electron to start the process, and then it is regenerated by vitamin A and E, and on it carries. So we need a good supply of vitamin C, vitamin E, A, carotenoids and flavonoids, alpha lipoic acid, which one can find in some of our products, CoQ10, glutathione is a cellular antioxidant which needs to be formed, and so the tools have to be available. So now I want to talk about some examples of conditions that can occur in pregnancy, quite commonly too, and I've just picked 3 main ones and then a few minor ones. One of the main ones is anemia. And unfortunately, a big mistake is made in that it is commonly thought to be exclusively due to iron deficiency. So one of the protocols that women are put on are ferrous sulfate, which is inorganic or synthetic, but they're given those tablets and they're given a synthetic folic acid as well, okay? And they are made to take these tablets throughout pregnancy, regardless of whether they complain of constipation and ill health. Now, the challenge there is that they're synthetic. You might want to remember that most supplements that are used elsewhere, not in this family, are not food-based. They are made synthetically. So iron tablets are routinely prescribed, and this can lead to zinc deficiency because iron, when available in the body, is antagonistic to zinc. It bars the absorption of zinc. And we've all heard how important zinc is, and you'll keep seeing that word, zinc, zinc, zinc. Okay, so also, as regards anemia, remember that other common deficiencies occur, such as vitamin B complex, zinc again, manganese, and the antioxidants, the phytonutrients. So when we see anemia, it isn't only as a result of iron deficiency. That is the message in that slide. Then let's consider another condition that we call preeclampsia and eclampsia. It is characterized by a rise in blood pressure, usually beyond the middle of the pregnancy. The blood pressure rises, and also there's swelling, and there is a lot of protein that is lost through urine. And I'll show you another slide, but you see, it's a common condition. It is so common that we need to consider what we can offer and give people a good pregnancy outcome. It comes with understanding. So just to reiterate, preeclampsia and eclampsia, those are the things that I said: raised blood pressure, swelling, protein in urine. There are quite a few theories, but the important thing to note here is that the role of nutrition and lifestyle cannot be denied. They're totally important, pivotal, and a lot of things happen as a result of inflammation, eclampsia as a result of inflammation from the lifestyle and the diet. So severe signs of preeclampsia, which can be eclampsia. Eclampsia is described as seizures or fits that can happen when that constellation of symptoms and signs happen. But signs of severe preeclampsia, and so one has to look out for these during pregnancy, are headache, confusion, maybe if it is eclampsia, frank eclampsia, a history of convulsions, and then they might feel breathless, they might have visual disturbances, they might have persisting nausea and vomiting, and then pain over the liver area and decreased urine input. When that happens, when all those happens, it's actually one of those emergencies that they need to get to a hospital or an obstetrician and get attended to. But one of the things that brings it down is magnesium, calcium and magnesium, which one can consider using routinely in pregnancy and before. Then the third one that I wanted to touch on, one of the conditions that we look out for is neurotube defects. They're described as the spinal cord not developing properly, and neurotube defects have been strongly linked to folic acid deficiency within the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. And that's why folic acid is given routinely. But I want to reiterate that you have something precious to offer, and that is the food-based, the whole food-based vitamins, instead of isolates that are synthetic. It's also commonest, neurotube defects are commonest in mothers with nutritionally poor diets for about 3 to 6 months before conception and for the first 3 months of pregnancy. And what happens, let me show you another slide, is that the improper formation of the spinal cord might cause herniation that we call a meningomyelocele, or it can then impact on brain development with swelling. And the result is that the child would have to have surgery to insert a shunt, because obviously with these ventricles dilating with poor flow of the cerebrospinal fluid, that can create major challenges. But these are defects that are quite common, and as we say, it could be based on nutritional deficiencies. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to create awareness so that we can offer some solutions. So I said I'll talk about some other apparently minor conditions, but to the pregnant mom, they are not minor. There's nothing minor about anything. So morning sickness, it is misnamed in that it can happen throughout the day. It is worse in the first 3 months, granted, especially if there is pre-existing poor nutrition. It can be very troublesome to the extent that it sets up a vicious cycle in that the mom is too sick to eat and as a result becomes poorly nourished. Already is malnourished, but now the nutrition status gets worse. Hyperemesis gravidarum is the name that was given to it in medical terms. Tends to be worse in multiple pregnancies. So if one is carrying twins or triplets, then it tends to be worse. And again, nutrition might be able to help a great deal. Then another one that a lot of us see is food cravings. This is a clear sign of mineral deficiencies, and there's a condition called pica or pica, where people eat clay or soil, to the extent that some people have made a business out of it. You've seen that they sell it in markets for people to buy and nibble on or suck. Yeah, that is a case of mineral deficiencies. Then I thought I would talk about stretch marks. A lot of people are concerned about stretch marks, but those become worse when they are deficiencies of zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin E, and amino acids. In other words, those nutrients that affect the elasticity of the skin. And if they are deficient, poor collagen formation in the skin will result in those stretch marks. So let's now talk about creating awareness when baby arrives. And one of the things that we are concerned about, and I know it is very, very common, it isn't only purely nutritional, granted, because having a new baby is a daunting event. It's breathtaking. I remember when I had my first baby, I remember really bursting into tears because as I watched her breastfeeding, it hit me that she depended on me for nutrition. So obviously all the pictures went through my mind as part of the postnatal depression. What if I wasn't here? What would happen to this little baby? So yes, it's a real entity, but it can be helped. It can be helped with good nutrition. And again, one of the classic signs of nutrient deficiencies is postnatal depression. Postnatal depression is zinc deficiency. And then other minerals as well, iron and magnesium, vitamin B and vitamin C, vitamins B and C. And then of course, essential fatty acids, the omega-3s, lipids and sterols. And then essential amino acids as well, because we need them to form neurotransmitters. Things like tryptophan, which is an essential amino acid, is very, very important to form neurotransmitters such as serotonin, which are antidepressant in nature. All right, and then when it comes to breastfeeding, establishing and sustaining breastfeeding is so important, but a lot of mothers fail to do that, to establish it and to sustain it, basically because of nutritional deficiencies. Apart from what we have been emphasizing, that zinc is very important for male health and male fertility, perhaps the one other time that zinc is very, very important is for a breastfeeding mother. She might even need more than what we have been talking about for the men might need twice as much in her system so that she can sustain breastfeeding. Okay. Breastfeeding is important for both mother and baby. Long term, for the mother, it helps to get her shape and size back. It helps with contraction of the uterus. It helps with, controlling her weight. And then breastfeeding is important to avoid an unfortunate eventuality that happens to some people, which is breast cancer. And then for the baby, it is so, so important because breast milk is a perfect food for the baby. Unfortunately, what has been happening is that due to pressures of lifestyle, mothers have to go back to work, or they cannot establish breastfeeding. There is a tendency for cow's milk or formula to be started early, but generally, if we can discourage it before the age of 6 months for the baby, it would be the ideal situation, because the baby's immune system and the digestive system are too immature to deal with complex protein that is found in cow's milk. Also, it would set the stage for allergies. And then it is believed that it might be one of the root causes of childhood onset diabetes, which many of you may have been seeing the prevalence increasing. And this is due to an autoimmune response against pancreatic cells that would produce insulin. There seems to be a cross reaction with the protein from cow's milk. So that's a gentle warning. And here's another gentle warning. Exposure to higher amounts of the wrong dietary fats and oils during pregnancy can change the developing baby's bile acids, and this would set the stage for a lot of diseases later in life. So if we've been wondering, what does good nutrition in pregnancy have to do with anything? Well, we have to be really aware that we are preparing the way for another individual. So the other thing we don't want to do while the baby is still growing in the womb, in the uterus, is to disrupt or potentially disrupt the gut microbiome and thyroid hormones. So that's another gentle warning to watch what kinds of fats and oils you use, and sugars as well, because sugar is converted to fat, and that can cause all sorts of problems, both to the mother and to the baby. So watch those processed foods, the processed sugars, avoid them, because we might be causing challenges. So here is a little reminder that a lot of chronic diseases come from food choice, toxic ingredients, and a lack of exercise. So we have to remember that even in pregnancy, we have to be super aware. So now let me talk a little bit about toxins and ask the question, why are we concerned about chemical toxicity? Well, I think we have every good reason to be concerned, because studies have been done. Several studies were done over quite a few years, in which over 30,000 samples of umbilical cord blood were tested for these chemicals. They're called polyfluoroalkyl substances. For short, we can call them PFAS or something like that. Anyway, those ones. This is a class of over 12,000 chemicals that are in common usage in our day-to-day usage, but they make their way into cord blood, which means that the baby has absorption of these things that we are using every day. And the challenge now is that these things do not break down naturally. Instead, they accumulate in the environment and in the body. Some people have called them forever chemicals because they just don't go away, okay? And they create a lot of havoc. So the reason we are concerned is these chemicals, there's a clear link between those PFAS exposure and health complications, even in the unborn baby, which translates to the younger children and later on in life. So when we are considering what we will talk about perhaps next week, heart health, we need to be so aware that it might actually be starting way before it begins to manifest in the adult, okay? And then these polyfluoroalkyl substances are found in drinking water. They can creep into our meat, fish, and dairy. They are there in processed foods because of the food packaging and perhaps in the food processing itself. They are available in cosmetics and cookware. So the question now, why are we concerned, is what can you do about it? What can we do at least to reduce their huge impact on us? And this is what we talk about regularly. Empower yourselves and things should be less harmful, okay? Now, we are concerned because developing unborn babies do not have the mechanisms to deal with these chemicals, and so they would accumulate and cause a lot of havoc. So it is all about knowing how to choose, and that's what we want to share with you. If there are guests on the call, you are all welcome. We like to stand apart as a family that would love to make a difference. And that's why we have these sessions. There are several other sessions that you can participate in that are to educate ourselves on matters such as the effects of chronic inflammation. But I like to take a few steps back and say, where did that cause of inflammation come from? But here are the various effects, and they can be made worse in pregnancy because there's another individual. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to take action. And we have a very important role in society as this family, because there was a doctor who was quoted as saying, the evidence for nutritional therapy is so strong that if doctors of today don't become nutritionists, nutritionists will become the doctors of tomorrow. So I think we are being empowered in this family that we belong to. We belong to the family on a mission to make the world a healthier and happier place. And we have a vision, a very big vision, to end the trend of chronic diseases. So I hope I have gone some way in showing that that trend that begins way before birth, way before even conception, okay, by people knowing how to make their health status better, can be changed. And where did we get all that information from? Well, we have the privilege of having a company that has the Scientific Advisory Board, which was founded by top scientists. The founder himself was a top toxicologist and pharmacologist. And now we have a group of scientists. There are some more that have joined the company. And their ethic has always been cellular nutrition. They say that if you can feed the cells properly, then you will have the cells get the nutrients into themselves and the waste matter out. And it is so crucial to just understand this apparently simple, but very, very profound piece of information, that we need to have a system of continual detoxification and continual nutrition. Otherwise, diseases happen. So now we have a lot of products to share with you, and I'm not going to share all of them this evening, but our concept of core nutrition is what keeps this family in a position to explain and to share why we do what we do and how can we see the results that we see. Core nutrition is for the entire family, and that is how the family becomes healthier. In the core nutrition is Pro Vitality. That's a pack which within it has Tri-NN that I have just described. That is a life-changing product, actually. On top of that, it is gluten-free, it is non-GMO, and it is purely based in nature, human food based, which is so crucial. The other thing that I want to point out is a unique product called Salmon Oil Plus, Omega-3. The uniqueness of the one that we have in our company is that it has all the 8 omega-3 molecules. Here they are. If you want to practice reading them, you're welcome. Most companies will only give EPA and DHA, just the 2. But we give all that are required for optimal cellular health and for the development of, for example, the nervous system. I pointed out neurotube defects, which may be as a result of vitamin B9, which is folic acid deficiency. But if other factors such as omega-3 are deficient as well, chances of such defects, chances of preeclampsia and eclampsia, and things, other conditions that can happen in pregnancy are much, much higher. Then I've spent a lot of time talking about zinc and its importance. You can, as members of this family, look and listen. Really keep your ears wide open and your eyes attentive to see who in pregnancy has poor appetite or is even anemic, looks a bit pale and weak, okay? Their immunity is low. They're always down with some cough and cold and sinuses and things like that. Then if you look closely, they have white marks on their nails. They might not grow very well, poor growth. And if they haven't cut off their hair like I did recently, poor hair growth as well. Their hair is scanty. And then hormonal imbalances, right? And obviously, last week we spent some time talking about fertility. Yes. So zinc is important. That is the long and short of it. And then also very important are vitamins B for pregnancy. And we have lipotropic adjunct and this, and the B complex, and I've talked about its importance in modulating and controlling the rises of homocysteine. And then vitamin C, I've talked about it, its importance in building collagen, and it's a primary antioxidant. So as regards your home and work environments, they are important to the unborn baby. It's important, very, very important to avoid those chemicals. And as the child grows, you can, as the children grow, you can use them very safely on a wide range of things. And so every person who is pregnant that you know, if they don't use these non-toxic, biodegradable, and highly economical products and are mixing with other things as well that have all those forever chemicals, please tell them to stop. Then I thought I would bring in the stress reliever. It's very useful during pregnancy for the heartburn that can happen, for the poor appetite. It is refreshing, but after pregnancy, it is so good to be used as instead of, rather, gripe water, because it is safe, it works, it helps with colic. Now, always remember, pregnancy isn't a time when people should stop exercising or doing things that are healthful. It is important to remain healthy and to exercise so that we can have a future generation, as well as the current generation of mothers who are happy, who are prosperous. And for that, we have a business opportunity that can earn mothers and fathers a good income. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to invite you for a short discussion.